Hi there. This is a review on the Charbroil Performance 340. I really want to make this review because there are really none of this particular grill, and it's when you read about it, it got a lot of bad. It has a lot of bad reviews because it's accused of being way too slow, way too underdimensioned, and there should be many things wrong with this one. A lot of people are quite unhappy about it. Um, Now I've had this for a couple of weeks and I've been cooking with it a couple of times. Large things, little things in it. Like I've done a roast in it. I've done like pork chops and steaks, and I must say that it's really has a lot of unjust reviews in my opinion. First of all, it's a very cheap grill. You can get this for like I don't know between $300 and $400, I guess, which is quite cheap because if you want to go the Weber way, for example, and get yourself let's say a 310 Spirit Weber, for example, it'll cost you a whole lot more. Well, first of all, there aren't major differences between this one and other gas grills because it has this true infrared system, which is very basically um, it's rubbish really because any grill is infrared. Infrared just means it creates heat. But what they mean to sell you here is some grill grates that have this system of can't open this with can't take them off with one hand. I'll try anyway. There you go. They have these grates that are a bit different than other grill grates because there you have to burn. Um, they have these ribs, okay? They're kind of wave formed, and then if you look closely at the bottom of each wave here, there are gaps from which the heat can travel onto your food. And the thing is, it goes slower that way. The hot air from the burners rise slowly to the surface where you cook your food, and then the heat is distributed more evenly across the plate, and that I can assure you works the way it's intended. However, um, that means that this grill is great for grilling directly. If you put your food, like you got steaks, sausages, pork chops, all that good shit, if you put that on the grates and turn it up all the way, okay, all of these all the way, okay, all three burners, no matter how hot you run this one, it's not gonna burn for you because the heat is the heat is high on the surface, but the amount of hot air that rises up here and potentially dries the meat is not that great. So you can never burn your food. And if grease drops down on the burners and flares up, this construction will save you from having your food burned because the flames will never reach the meat. And that I must say that's an advantage. I think the motivation for producing grills like this is that um, all the major steakhouses in America use infrared grills, so to speak. That's their preferred way of grilling your food when you go to restaurants and order a steak. So it's something that's derived from a bigger industry down to consumer level grills, basically. And then comes all the weak points with this grill is that you can't really make a grill that's good for direct heat, and at the same time is good for indirect heat. This is not an indirect roasting grill, really. And I'll tell you why. Because when you turn all the burners on, then it's gonna be hard for you to make it very hot. Basically, it's gonna take you forever to even get to 200 degrees Celsius, which is, I don't know, in Fahrenheit that must be just below 400. That's gonna take you forever. I guess it will take you about half an hour, and that's very slow for a gas grill. And then once you reach that heat and you come here with your roast, you open up, and I guess you have you have to put on the middle you have to put on the side burners here and then turn off the middle one, and you put your roast here in the middle in order to use the heat from the side burners here without searing the meat. Then what's going to happen is that when you put your meat here, you're gonna stop a lot of that convection air that's coming from the burners. Remember, there's not a lot of convection here. There's not a lot of hot air coming up from the bottom, which means that when you put down your lid again, your temperature is going to drop a whole lot. It's probably going to roast around 150 to 170 degrees Celsius, which is, here you can see what that is in Fahrenheit. And that's going to be a slow cook for your roast. And if you have time enough, it's not a problem. If you want to use all your old good roast recipes and you're going to use your experience from previous grills you've owned, perhaps that's going to be a problem. However, you can make a little modification like I've done. I've attached some plate here to the vent. What do you call it? I guess you call it the vent. I'll tell you how it looks on the back. If you don't do that modification, you're gonna have a very wide vent here. All you see, all the sink that you can see here, where my two fingers are, that's gonna be just open, so you can basically get all your hand in to the grill. And that's a very big vent for a gas grill. If you look at a Weber grill, for example, the 310 or the Genesis, perhaps, they're gonna have a lot smaller vents, which helps them to retain the heat, basically. So it doesn't have very good heat retention. And if you open it along the way, along with your roast, when you're roasting, and you open the grill, it's going to lose all the heat, and it's going to take a long time before it gets up to the roasting temperature again. So it's not a very good grill for roasting meat or making a roast. You can do other things to make it a little better, though. If you use the rotisserie, like I've got here, you can put up that motor, with a long stick here, and then it's going to be attached to a holder here. It's kind of ironic. The rotisserie that went with this grill, it cannot reach the whole the whole area here, which is kind of comic in a way. That they couldn't even design a rotisserie for it. So it comes with a holder that you have to put here. Then you can put up your chicken or your roast there. If you do that, your temperature is going to be a lot more stable, because then you don't obstruct any air from these plates coming up. One other thing that you could do for the sake of experimentation is to remove the grates when roasting meat, and then you can remove. Perhaps that's the idea. That's what I would do anyway. Remove this one, and then put your roast here. But then you can't do anything here besides looking down onto the burners. because then that would create a lot more convection. However, then again, it seems that because of this system, the true infrared system, the burners are underdimensioned, meaning that they use a lot less gas because it's not necessary to use all that gas when you distribute the heat so well as you do with these grates. So remember, if you start removing the grates, remember that the grill was not designed for that. It's designed for using it with the grates in it and basically nothing else. I really don't think you can buy like regular grates for it that would fit, and I think that's on purpose, definitely, because it's not supposed to be used in any other way than this. So I hope you got a lot wiser on the Charbroil Performance 340 True Infrared 3 burner grill, and that if you're looking to buy one of these, perhaps because it's very cheap, then there are a few things that you would need to consider. Thanks. Have a good one. Have a good night. Enjoy your summer. Thanks.